Do you ever feel trapped in your relationships? Like you can't be yourself, you can't express yourself, you can't do the things you want to do? Well, most people feel trapped, and there are some interesting and not obvious reasons that we feel trapped. So we've come here on a road trip to Laguna Beach, and we've been traveling around the west coast, and been giving a lot of opportunity to look at our relationship. We spend a lot of time together anyway, but when you go on a road trip, you spend even more time together. And I've come to realize certain things that have been a bit dysfunctional in our relationship, and I didn't really figure out what they were until really looking at it very, very deeply. And I'm about to share with you some of these things that can help you break free from any strange bondages or traps that you might have without even realizing it, without being intentional, and why they happen and what you can do about it. We can either have relationships or bondages. What most people consider relationships are actually just bondages, where we're trapped in a situation. And one of the reasons that we get into these bondages without realizing it is because each of us comes with our own list of baggage, and we come with our own list of opportunities and potentials. And when two people come together, the potentials they have individually often collide. And I'll just show you how this works. Here's person A, that's you, and here's person B, that's somebody else. And each one of us comes with a bunch of different things. So now we have two people together with all their stuff. Now, when we're talking about the stuff, these things here, this is the potential that someone has. This has the interest. Someone might be interested in this and this and this and this, and this person's interested in all these different things, right? So each person comes with their own interests and their own potentials. The problem is when people come together, then some of those interests and potentials conflict with each other. So lots of the things have to be removed. And what you're left with is only the things that both people can tolerate. And all the other stuff is gone. So when two people come together, this person has his own interests, this person has their own interests, and everyone wants to do the thing that they love to do. But when we come together, if one person wants to go out and play around and do stuff like that, outside adventures, and the other person likes to be inside and not go out very much, then there's a conflict, because neither person's going to get what they want. And if one person does one thing, then it's a compromise to the other person not getting what they want. After a while, that starts to drain the relationship and drain the individuals, because we can tolerate for a certain amount of time. We're good at tolerating, human beings, we can put up with things, but it comes to a point where we start to snap, and in that case, what normally happens is people break up. They say, that's it, I'm over this, and they leave. But then then they meet another person.
You stole my heart, what is it that you do?
Who also has their own little baggage, right? And then it's the same thing all over again. And this is why so many relationships fail, is that each one of us has potential. We want to do good things that we love to do. We meet someone else, they may or may not be into it. And then there's a compromise, and a lot of stuff that we love starts to be pulled out of us. It starts to disappear, and we begin to wonder who we are, because who we used to be is no longer there anymore, because we're not doing the things that we used to do. How can we get our own needs met and help others get their needs met and create a win-win situation? It's a very, very important question. Yeah, Ariel, you got the answer to all the secrets of the universe? I think Yogi Bear has the secrets to the universe. He knows what needs to be done.
A Jedi must have the deepest commitment, the most serious mind. Use the Force. Yes.
He's deeply immersed in silence all the time.
Like, for example, Ariel likes certain things and I like certain things, and some of the things that she likes I'm not necessarily that interested in. Some things I am interested in. I mean, a lot of stuff we are both interested in. But let's say, for example, I want to go out on some crazy adventure and Ariel is not for it, then I should have to do it on my own, which is fair enough. But if she tries to stop me doing it, then that's a problem. And if she wants to do something and I'm not interested, she can do it on her own. And I think it's just really a matter of in any relationship, giving each person, giving the other one freedom to do what they need to do and cooperating with what they actually enjoy. So Ariel is typically a very tidy person. She's very tidy, she's cleaning. And I can be very tidy, but I'm not always very tidy, let's put it that way. And so if she tidies a bunch of stuff up and thinks she's done it for me, then that's not really true, because I'm not that bothered, but she is bothered. So if she was alone, she'd be tidying up and cleaning up anyway. So I appreciate it, but I don't need it, right?
Like, I recently tidied up this area over here, and now it's a total disaster.
Yeah, I've trashed it straight up, you know. So, she's come along and tidied it up, and I've come along and made a mess of it. Because when I create things, it ends up being messy. And that's just, part of the process of creating things. But this is just a general principle that applies to so many situations, whether it's work, personal relationships, family relationships. People are trapping each other with their own limitations, like we saw before. One person has a whole tree of ideas and things that they want to do. The other person has a whole thing. When you come together, all the ones that are not connected get destroyed, which is really harsh, actually. And we need to make sure that we don't kill the things within us that bring us joy. Isn't that right?
Yeah, it's important to nurture and find and remember what makes us happy. I think we can also lose it not just in relationships with other people, but just in like technology today. I'm finally doing some work today, but we can lose ourselves on the screen and forget what we love to do. There's so many ways, I think, today to lose touch with ourselves on a number of levels. So spend some time by yourself and really remember what lights you up, what makes you happy, what are your specialities, what's interesting to you, and do it. Take the time.
Yeah, well, there you have it. Thank you. So one of the best things we can do to make things good and stay good is, first of all, to really write down. I recommend actually taking the time to do this. Write down all the things that you personally really love in your life. Because each one of us is different. We all have different needs, we have different interests, we have different potential, we have different goals. So whatever it is for you, really understand what brings you joy. What brings you joy? And it's probably good to get away from the other person, other people in your life, to think about this, because when they're around, you might not be aware of the same things you're aware of when you're on your own. So perhaps go away somewhere and think about this. If you're in a relationship, it's worth the other person does the same thing as well, because obviously you're coming together. And then you can consider how many of those things that you love to do can you genuinely do with the other person. So whatever it is, many things can be done in relationship with others. And so how can you do those things in such a way that brings you and the other person joy? And if it turns out that the other person doesn't want to do certain things with you because they're not interested, that's fair enough. You shouldn't force them to do it. You can find somebody else who would be happy to connect with you in that way. It's a beautiful thing to consider. And we're going to continue our little road trip. It's nice to be by the beach. We've been in the desert for a long time, so it's great to be back by the ocean again. Have a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful day.
Beautiful day. Lots of joy and freedom, and just do what makes you happy.
Use the Force. Yes.
Charity begins
Charity
at home.
begins at home,
Yeah.
right.
So if we want to change the world, let's at least sort out our relationships and our house, so to speak. You know, like get the basics in order. Then we can go around making the world a better place.
Yeah, Gandhi has a similar quote.
Yeah. We're off to get coffee. All right.